So if you don't mind, again, just type in the chat section, the question section, what kind of homes you guys are typically building, what kind of business you're typically chasing. Then we can go into there. While we're doing that, Whitney, why don't you go to the next slide here? Let's do a little bit of introduction. So again, my name is Jeremy McLerran. I'm the Director of Marketing for Qolsys. Also on the line, assuming that we can get her audio working and you can hear it, we'll have the Director of Builder Sales, Jasmine Leitzel, and then Caitlyn Kiely from alarm.com. We are all ready and when willing to help you guys be effective in the builder channel as you're building your homes and turning your homes into smart homes, providing technology and information that will really help improve the way you sell homes, improve the way that you approach new customers, and are able to lock down more sales. Still not able to get their audio. Jasmine, can you hear me? Caitlin, can you hear me? Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and proceed. So in the event that we can't get their audio working, I don't want you guys to have to wait around. So we're going to proceed. So go ahead and go to the next slide, Whitney. So, obviously the demand for smart homes and builder in general is increasing. The overall market size for housing was 1.1 million starting in 2015. We're seeing significant increases from that, and it just seems to be going more and more. And you guys know this. You're building more homes. You are interacting more with potential builders, or excuse me, potential customers. I know most of you guys are on the East Coast, Southern Florida, and areas like that, and I know I live in Utah. In my home area, we've got probably 15 to 20 different communities going up right now, and I know that Texas and Florida are double or triple that right now. So as you guys are building, the demand is increasing, and we want to make sure that you are able to meet that demand, because that demand is not just for new homes, but it's for newer, smarter homes. Now, I also understand, I just got a note here, that we also have both the dealer and essential station on the line as well. So, there are people represented even here on this call today who are part of the whole equation. And I don't know if you guys are all aware of how this whole thing works, but just to give you a quick overview, typically what happens is when you buy an alarm system for a home, you'll get some type of control panel. You'll have sensors placed throughout the house and other devices, and those devices would then, when opened or closed, send a signal to the panel. Well, that, of course, sets off an alarm if the alarm is armed, or if the alarm is not armed, it says things like door open, door closed. I myself, in my own personal home, I've got sensors on every door and window, not necessarily because I worry about my neighborhood or because I'm worried about a break-in, but because I want to know who's coming and going in my house. My son is 11 years old. If he decides in the middle of the night that he wants to sneak out and go play night games with his friends, I want to be able to hear, Jake's bedroom window open, and I want to know that he's doing that. Now, obviously, in the evenings, I've probably got my system armed in the stay mode, and so the alarm would go off right away. But I wanted to, just know what's going on, what's coming and going, and what's happening, at any time in my home. The other advantage is if I'm not home, then that's when a central station comes into play. The central station can dispatch police for me if a door or window is opened or closed and shouldn't be, and the alarm goes off. And let's say I'm on vacation. I'm spending time on the beach in sunny Florida, and my home in Utah is being burgled. Well, I want someone to respond to that. So having a central station there will around the clock be monitoring your system, not just for potential intrusions, but also for fire, for flooding, for any number of things. It really depends on the sensor suite that you install inside the home. So you can do something simple and small, but we could also you can also do that. Hold on just a second here, guys. Hey, Whitney, would you reach out to Caitlin? She said she's still not able to get into the meeting. Just give her a call from your cell phone.
Yeah, I'll do that.
And see if she can get in there. Great. Um, so, the central station comes into play because they're watching the house 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it gives you the ability to not have to be at home and make sure that your home is still protected. Now, I think a lot of people understand that about security systems, that piece of it hasn't changed a lot. But what has changed in the past few years is all the smart home stuff that comes along with it, and that's really where we want to focus our efforts and attention today, because that's the stuff that people are really asking for, the stuff that people are really wanting from a consumer standpoint. Whitney, go ahead and go to the next slide for me too while you're... So obviously the demand is increasing. If you look at the stats, it's actually kind of interesting. 77% of millennial, which is someone we classify as 18 to 35, a millennial home buyer, want their homes to be equipped with the technological capabilities they've grown accustomed to. Now, how have they grown accustomed to that? Now, obviously, it's through their smartphones, it's through the internet, it's through things like that. So if 77% of these new home buyers, this younger group that is now getting great jobs, they're all going out into the workforce, they're wanting to buy their first home or their second home, and they want it equipped with technological capabilities. If you don't have those installed in your home, then you're missing out on the opportunity to sell to them, and that means you're only selling to the over 35 crowd. Okay, well, I don't know about you, but I certainly wouldn't want to have a piece of the pie taken away from me just because I'm not including something that both of those parties would be interested in. Another interesting thing in terms of being able to sell a customer is home automation can increase the resale value on a home by up to 7%. So another selling point in as you're selling it is, hey, this home is going to have great value, not just now, but in years to come. And when you're ready to move on and when you're ready to sell it, you can sell it for more than you could with than that. So again, building value in the homes that you're creating for your customers. Now, that interest in that smart home technology is based on knowing their home is safe and secure, and how smart is a home if it's not actually secure, right? I mean, obviously, it's the intelligence of knowing who's coming and going. It's the intelligence of knowing what's happening on the inside the home at all times that help make it safe and help make it secure. And of course, all of that intelligence makes it very convenient as well. All right, Whitney, go ahead and go to the next slide for me. More than 1 in 4 adults, so 28%, have smart home products in their home. 4 in 5 of those would be likely to buy a home if smart technology was already installed. So you've got everything from Apple TVs to Roku boxes. You've got iPhones and Android devices. You've got tablets. There's all sorts of things that would be considered smart home type devices. Or and of course everybody has these. A lot of these mobile devices and tablets that can be used to control a home. But then there's all these other little devices like the Philips Hue light bulbs and the the smart thermostats, the Nest thermostats, and things like that. There's a lot of people that have those type of devices already, so they're used to having that kind of stuff. And if that smart home technology was already installed, 4 in 5 of those people would be more likely to buy that home. So again, if one of those people come to your home, your model home, and don't see that stuff in there, they might move on. And of course, a home with that stuff is in it already is going to be more appealing. Also, you can sell more. You can sell your homes for more when it's got it. You can look here, the difference between 2014 and 2018. The percentage of home sale prices attributed to technology is more than double. So it goes from 5.6% to 12%. So you really have the opportunity to get more for your buck as you're doing it. Go ahead, Whitney, with the next slide. This is a slide I like to show. It's called the Internet of Things, and it basically shows, if you're not familiar with that term, the concept here is that the Internet of Things is this explosion of connected devices, and it's more than just a device that's able to connect to the Internet. The Internet of Things is the concept that your device can not only connect to the Internet, but can connect to each other. Um, it's one thing to have a washer and dryer that you have an app for. Yeah, that's nice and it's smart and you can see where the cycle is and things like that. It's a whole other thing to have a front door lock that can also talk to your security system, or a garage door that can close automatically when you drive away from the home because you've armed your security system, or because you've sent a command remotely, things like that. Excuse me, I had to sneeze. So it's really about this explosion of connected devices that is coming onto the market today. You can see by the year 2020, we're looking at a potential 50 billion devices connected to the internet. It's just a massive, massive number. And all of these devices are going to be in homes. Now the question is, are you going to put them in homes and take advantage of this market trend and be able to, you know, get in front of it and be one of the leaders? Or are you going to have your customers going in after the fact and getting other companies putting this stuff in for them, and they're going to do it, and you're going to miss out on all the revenue? So again, it's a possibility. It's an opportunity for you to make more money on your homes and to sell more homes because of the fact that you are adopting and you know, conforming to this trend that's coming into the market. So very exciting. Winnie, go ahead and go to the next slide for me. So there are connected devices everywhere. I mean, if you think about all the different devices that can be connected to the internet, there are tons. And every day it seems like there's more and more and more and more. And we're going to see more and more as time goes on. There won't be a change from that. Go ahead and go to the next one. Here at Qolsys, we like to coin the term what we call the Internet of Home. You're good, Winnie. And as we talk about the Internet of Home, it's basically made up of three aspects. There's the brain of the home, which is the panel or the control panel. There is the network of connected devices, and then there is the interactive service that ties it all together. And you can't have a real true smart home without, you know, all three of these aspects. The IQ panel that we produce, it's called the Qolsys IQ panel, is a 7-inch touchscreen that allows your home to basically have a brain, and it can connect to a whole bunch of different devices using a variety of radios already pre-installed in the panel. So you buy this hub that also serves as an interactive touchscreen in the home, and you'll be able to connect to your tablets, your secondary tablets throughout the home. You'll be able to connect over cellular to your interactive service. Maybe that's a wearable watch that allows you to control your system, or your app on your smartphone. You can connect to a network of security and life safety devices like smoke detectors and door sensors and doorbell sensors and motion sensors, you know, all the above. A variety of Z-Wave devices, and if you're not familiar with Z-Wave, it's a great technology that allows light bulbs and door locks and thermostats, lamp modules, water valves, all sorts of things to communicate with each other and be operated from the panel or from your remote system. And then also, you know, your cameras throughout the home. So all of these work together in the brain of the smart home, and because they're working together, they can play off of each other. I'll give you an example. In my home, when I come home and I unlock my front door, automatically my lights turn on, my thermostat turns back up, and my home basically welcomes me. So I've got all these little things happening automatically. When I leave my home, same kind of thing happens. I leave my home and I drive out of what I call a Geo Fence. And as I leave that area, at the 1 mile radius from my home says, "Oh, he's gone. What would you like me to do?" And if I haven't armed the panel, then it will send me a text message, "Hey, you forgot to arm it." I can press one button, I'm leaving, and automatically all these things will occur. I'll have the opportunity to, it will automatically turn off my lights, turn down my thermostat, it will lock my doors, it will you know, basically do all this stuff for me. If my garage door is open, it will close it. If I forgot to lock my back door, it'll lock it for me. So it does, you know, it's a convenience, but it's also a safety thing. And it arms my security system, so now all the sensors on my doors and windows are operating, watching over my home and taking care of it. And again, it's automatic, because of the rules I've set up through my interactive service.
Hey, Jared, we got
Go ahead
Caitlin.
and go to the next page. Oh, Caitlin's on. Can you hear me, Caitlin?
I can. How you
Oh,
doing?
Excellent. Thank you. Apologize for the technical difficulties there. I was explaining to these guys that we kept trying to get your audio to work, and you couldn't hear us and we couldn't hear you. So I apologize that we couldn't get that working right away. But I'm glad that you're on now. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no
So
worries. Glad to be here.
So just as a kind of a recap for you, Caitlin, I don't know if you were able to hear what we were talking about earlier, but we talked about the opportunity in the market. We talked about the concept of the Internet of Home, the three aspects of the panel, the, the network of devices, and the interactive service. And we were just briefly talking about the actual panel itself that's going in. Um,
Yeah.
so dual path connectivity is the way we use to communicate. And again, Caitlin's with Alarm.com. So as the interactive service provider that works in tangent with a dealer in your area, this dual path connectivity would allow us to connect to the central station, to connect with your Alarm.com interactive service through both cellular and Wi-Fi. And this is something that we work very closely with Alarm.com to create, so that your signals are going fast, there's decreased latency, there's reliability. Over other solutions that you'll see out there in the market, this is going to be far superior because they'll either have only Wi-Fi, or they'll have a cellular with a Wi-Fi, or a Wi-Fi with like a cellular backup or failover, but that cellular aspect only comes into play when the Wi-Fi is down. The IQ panel is smart enough to say, hey, we can look at both pathways simultaneously and make sure that we're sending signals the fastest way possible. This, of course, improves the speed and reliability of it, but it also improves the different locations you can install the panels in the home. For those of you that have installed security panels or home networking panels of some sort, you probably know that the locations sometimes can be a little picky based on the size of the home, the configuration of the home, things like that. You might not get a good signal. With this dual path connectivity, you've got a lot of flexibility and reliability anywhere that you put the panel, because it's got both the cellular and Wi-Fi connection. Go ahead and go to the next slide there, Whitney. We do a lot of software updates. That's something we work very closely with Alarm.com on, is to create new software that not only keeps this up to speed with the technology that you're used to, but that works out bugs, adds support for new features, things like that. So when you install a system in the home buyer's home, and you install in the home that you're building, your customer, another great selling point, you don't have to worry about the customer feeling like they got a system that's now become obsolete. I mean, every one of us have been in one of those homes where you go in and there's some old graying out intercom system on the wall, and the family's like, yeah, that thing worked when I was a kid, but it hasn't worked in 10 years, and now it's just an eyesore on the wall. Unlike some of those old technologies that are now obsolete or just need to be updated, with wiring and newer panels and things like that, because you're going to get software updates on a regular basis, it will actually ensure forward compatibility, is what we call it. So all the new things coming out, all the things that are happening, in terms of features, in terms of capabilities, we'll be able to push those out over the air to the existing home. So your customers will be able to, know that the system that's being installed in their home, the system that they're, buying with the home that they're buying from you, is always going to be the very best it can be. So let's go ahead and go to the next one. Now, Caitlin, I was kind of put this together to kind of show how rules work, and you could probably explain this even better. But so when a device does something, the panel then receives a signal, and then can then turn on or off other devices, right? And you can create these rules on Alarm.com that would allow one action to trigger many, right?
Exactly. And you hit the nail on the head, Jeremy, when you say that. I think this is really where we're ahead in the space, is that the customer can actually have things happen automatically for them. So we've gone above and beyond just using the app as a remote control for those devices. And we've created these rules to really help that customer kind of choreograph their life in a way that it hasn't been in the past.
Yeah, and it's really, I mean, it's a lot of fun to kind of go through and decide what you're going to do, how you're going to do it. I mean, it's so flexible and so customizable. You can literally say, when I come home, I want to do this. When I leave when I leave, I want to do that. When I go to bed, I want to do this. And you can have all these different scenes, I guess is probably the right way to describe it, of things that are happening automatically just based on, um, the actions that you're taking. And you could say, hey, when I do this one thing, all these other things should go into place. All these other actions should take place. So, Whitney, go ahead and go to the next slide for me. You can set up a variety of different rules. Here's just a couple examples. When you lock the front door, it could turn off the lights, lock your back door, and arm your security in stay mode. When the doorbell rings, you could turn on a porch light, record a video clip, and have that texted to your mobile device. Um, Even recently, and this is how rapidly we are innovating together as an organization. Both with Qolsys and Alarm.com. Even this slide that we built this slide probably a month or 3 months ago, and already this is outdated because now we've got a new feature called Scenes, which allows you to create, general going to bed or leaving the house or things like that, and it triggers a whole series of actions, not necessarily based off a door lock being locked, but based off of what you're doing. You could still create these little rules like this, but now there's even more things. And there's video doorbell cameras that allow you to interact with people right on the front porch. There are even smarter locks out there. I mean, there's so much innovation happening in this space right now that as you're and the beauty of the software update is all these things will come into your the things that you're doing, and we'll update the software, and you can continue to leverage and take advantage of these. Um, Caitlin, from your perspective, what is, and maybe it's from your own personal use, what's the rule you use the most? What's the rule that seems to be the most popular for you?
Yeah, I think that there are a couple of different ones, and obviously it's going to depend on the particular homeowner itself, whether they have a family, whether they're a young single adult. But I think the use of Geo services, which is our location-based services, really is probably the most popular feature because, again, the customer doesn't actually have to set off a trigger for anything to happen. It's based on when they are or aren't home. So when they're a certain proximity away from the home, go ahead and turn off all the lights and adjust the thermostat so that they're not heating or cooling something empty. And then on the other side of the thing, when the first person comes back home, go ahead and adjust the thermostat again automatically so that they're not returning to something uncomfortably hot or uncomfortably cold. And maybe turn on the porch light so they're not returning to something dark if it is nighttime. So both for safety and then also for convenience, of course, I would say probably the lights and the thermostat.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the thermostat because that's actually, it ties into my favorite rule as well. My personal favorite rule, I've got a lot of rules set up in my system in my home. My personal favorite is the door left open rule. I've got 4 kids, and I don't know what it is about kids, but they get so excited to go in the backyard and go jump on the trampoline that they almost never close the door. And of course, if we're running our air conditioner on a hot day, I don't want to be blowing my air conditioner out into the backyard. So I have one of my rules set up as when the door is left open, turn off the thermostat, or adjust it up 5 degrees is what I say. And automatically that rule goes into place. The door is left open for more than a minute, and voila, my thermostat turns down. I don't have to worry about like, oh, go close the door, go close the door. I don't have to run over and adjust the thermostat myself manually. I know it just happens. Now, obviously, I've also got another rule that says when the door's left open, send me a text message so I can go quickly follow up and, oh, I'm going to go close that door. And when I close that door, my wife closes that door, then the thermostat says, oh, the door's closed, go ahead and resume back again. So I know that I'm saving energy even as my kids are going out playing. I don't have to worry so much about, when I was a kid, I was constantly being yelled at, close the door, don't go outside, you're wasting air, you're wasting energy. I don't have to feel like I have to hound my kids like that. Now, granted, I still want them to close the door, and I still ask them to, but it's less of a concern for me because my system is smart enough to handle it.
Right.
Go ahead and go to the next slide there, Whitney. So this is just an automation of how rules could automate your entire home. And this slide deck, guys, will be made available to you if you'd like to be able to use it for your own customers. We want to make sure that you have the ability to present to your customers this technology, show them how great it is. We've of course got videos and commercials online as well. But you start an automation sequence from the panel or from your remote services, and all these other things happen. Appliances turn off or on, lights on or off, doors locked or unlocked, thermostat adjusting, security arming, cameras on, things like that. So these rules can just automate the entire home, and it depends on not only having a brain in the home, a panel in the home that will has the capability to connect to a lot of different devices, but it also requires a lot of different devices. And those devices don't have to be installed at the time of purchase either. You can get this home and built, put in a basic system for the customer, and the dealer that you work with, and Caitlyn here on the call today, Jasmine on the call today, Santiago on the call today, can all help connect you with a dealer that can work with you on this kind of thing, and find someone who's not only willing to install this stuff for you, but then also be able to give you the opportunity, give your customers the opportunity to continue to upgrade it as time goes on. Not every person has the money to invest in a full smart home system right off the bat. And so most systems are built over time. They'll start with their basic system, and then 6 months from now, they'll want to invest in 1 or 2 more devices. And then every 6 months, it will be about the same. They'll want, okay, now it's time for that thermostat. Now it's time for that door lock for the back door. Okay, now we're going to get that smart garage door opener. Now we're going to, bite the bullet and invest in that water shutoff valve that's installed into our home's water, so that if a flood's detected, it will automatically turn off the water, things like that. So there's a lot of really great technology that can be used to really automate the home, but it doesn't have to be done right away. You guys can provide a basic system, but the key is it's a basic system that's expandable over time, and that will continue to learn and grow as new devices come out. Go ahead and go to the next slide there, Whitney. This is the point Caitlyn was talking about, the Geo Fences. You can create Geo Fences to trigger rules, within a mile of any particular location. You can have multiple Geo Fences. I have a Geo Fence at work. I have a Geo Fence here at home. My Geo Fence at work says, when I leave work, turn my thermostat back up at home so that by the time I arrive home, my home is at the temperature I want it to be. And it's really the Geo Fence. And Caitlyn, correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys are constantly adding new features to the Geo Fences as well. It used to be that it was only thermostat control, but now there's locks and lights and all sorts of automation that can occur through geofencing.
Yep, that's absolutely right. So in addition to the thermostat adjustment, they also have the ability to turn on or off the lights. They can also be sent a notification if garage door is left open, if the panel is left disarmed, or any of the locks are left unlocked as well. At which point they would have the ability to, again, remotely change that status to make sure that the home is safe and secure. Exactly. So it's, it's almost fun to go through and create all these interesting different rules and see the different things that are possible. And I think your customers will change from, do we want to buy this house, to how do we want to configure this house very, very quickly. Go to the next slide. We kind of talked about this, devices providing data to the IQ panel, but notifications are a big point of it too. We've talked about rules, but not so much about notifications. Just having an awareness of what's happening is pretty important, I think. I mentioned how when my door is left open, I get that text message that says, hey, the door was left open. You can set up notifications for almost everything. Hey, my door was unlocked. If you're creating multiple user codes for the home, that's, in my house, I've got a user code for myself. I've got a separate one for my wife, a separate one for each of our children. I've got a separate one for my mother and for my father. I've got one for my wife's mother. I've got one for our neighbor. I've got one for our brothers and sisters. I mean, you could set up to 142 different user codes, and they can access the system only in times when you want. So you could say, hey,
I've got a dog walker that comes over at 3 p.m. Um, and walks Bitsy, and Bitsy always has to be walked between 3 and 4. So the dog walker has access at 2:30, and that access ends at 4:30. And if that dog walker is late or doesn't come during the time window it is, then that door lock isn't going to respond, and that security system isn't going to respond. It basically locks them out. So it's almost like a version of access control, which you'd really only find in commercial applications. But here in this type of scenario, they can have it here for themselves. It really, really is going to help you sell your devices faster. It's going to help you lease your devices, not your devices, your homes faster. Being able to have these notifications constantly, being able to be aware of what your smart home is doing. The sales cycle is a lot shorter. I imagine going into sitting down with a customer and saying, yeah, look at all these beautiful things. Let's pick out your tile. Let's pick out your carpet. Look at all these great things we could do. And by the way, you'll know everything that's going on in your home, and can continue to develop your, this smart home for yourself and for your family. Go ahead and go to the next slide, Winnie. Here's some examples of some notifications: garage door left open, or there was a power failure in your home, system wasn't armed by a certain time. That's one that we use every night if we're in the middle of watching a show, or reading in bed or something like that. If we haven't armed our system, getting a little text message reminder saying, hey, you forgot to arm your system, is a nice way of reminding us to secure the home before we go to sleep. The back door reported an alarm if an alarm goes off, or if this system is disarmed by a certain person at a certain time. In fact, now again, this slide is needs to be updated again, but now the system disarmed also includes a photograph of who disarmed it, because of the panel, the camera built into the panel. So you'll be able to actually see who's disarming the system. We've got a system. I've got a system here at home. I've also got another one in my office at work. And every day when Whitney gets into the office, I get a picture of her smiling face at the time she gets in. And luckily, she's never ever late, so we don't have to worry about reprimanding her. She's so good about that. But it's just nice to know this stuff. And again, just having that knowledge, having that peace of mind, having that awareness of what you're doing, it keeps you connected, and you don't have to be thinking about this stuff. It's that peace of that makes makes your customers feel like this is the kind of home I want to live in, and gets them want to lease it faster or sell it faster. Go ahead and go to the next slide, Whitney. So our device compatibility is not limited to our own product line. We, of course, have a lot of different smart devices, but we connect to Wi-Fi devices, security RF devices, and Z-Wave devices across multiple manufacturers. So really, as you are meeting with Santiago, with Caitlyn, with Jasmine on our team, we'll work with you to help make recommendations on what devices your customers might want to see as a basic system, and then what might be great as upgrades or things like that. And as we put you in contact with dealers, the goal would be that that dealer would work directly with your customer, and you could really decide how you want that to be done. Some home builders that we work with want to install all the smart home technology themselves and then have a dealer monitor it and maintain it. Others want to have the dealer come in and do all the installation themselves. The dealer would do all the installation and then meet with the customer and say, what kind of upgrades do you want, and things like that. And the dealer would be more than happy to sit down, in that appointment time when you got the carpet guy coming in to pick out carpet, you've got the tile guy coming in and they're picking out their tiles, their tile samples, picking out their counters and things like that. The dealer, the security and automation dealer, would be just as happy to sit down and help them pick out their smart home components. Do they want the water valve? Do they want a spring for a sensor on every window, or do they only want the doors covered? Do they want the garage door open, or do they want the automatic locks? Do they want lighting control throughout the whole house? And what kind of lighting control? Is it light bulbs, or is it light switches? There's so many different choices, and we don't expect you to become experts in this. It certainly helps if you guys each get a system in your own home so you can understand the technology behind it and how valuable it can be. But you don't have to do that. That's one of the things that will help take that burden off of your shoulders, is will put you in contact with a local dealer in your area who's licensed, professionally bonded, insured, and is professionally trained and certified to take this stuff and put it in the home the right way, to meet with your customers and really interact with them and help them feel like this is a great way to do it. And we'll set up the model home. We'll help set up the model home the right way too. Now, Caitlin, we've got some pretty, and I think we're going to get to it in a minute, but there's some pretty compelling programs for both model homes and the communities themselves, right? In terms of getting this equipment for the builders here on this call today.
Yeah, absolutely. So all of our dealers do have model home and community home programs in place. Depending on your location, those programs may vary. But with model home programs, it's pretty typical of our dealers to actually offer most of the equipment for free in terms of the add-ons. So again, definitely a great incentive to put it in your model home. And a way to show off the system as not just an option that the home buyer has, but something that comes standard in all of the homes that you build.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Whitney, go ahead and go to the next slide for us. So there's a lot of different devices out there. I want to just speed through these real quick. A mini door window sensor will allow you to know when anything is opening or closing. You can put it on safes, you can put it on mailboxes, you can put it on cabinets, you can put it on doors, refrigerators, you name it. Anything that opens or closes. Go to the next one. Whitney. I guess that it's possible she's hitting next, and I've got a delay. You probably have a delay as well. Energy management. This thermostat's pretty amazing. Caitlin, tell everyone, I've got this thermostat in my house, and I absolutely love it. What do you love best about the Alarm.com thermostat?
Yeah, so again, with the Alarm.com thermostat, you're able to tie in that Geo Services feature. So we like to think of it as even smarter than some of the scheduling out there, because that actually will adjust the thermostat when the last person leaves the home and then adjust it again when the first person is returning home. So not everybody's schedule is the same day to day, and again, this allows for you still to save energy and money on your energy bill without necessarily having to maintain a schedule that you've programmed on the thermostat itself.
Yeah, we've saved at least 30% on our utilities with this thermostat, and we've got a rule set up that when I leave the home, both my wife's phone and my phone have to leave the home in order to adjust the thermostat. But when we do, it automatically does it. It's funny, my wife is a stay-at-home mom, and so she stays home and plays with our 4 kids, or whatever throughout the day. But they, of course, are going on, they're going to the park, or they're going, out to go play with friends, or go on hikes or things like that. I can always tell when they've done it, because I'll get a text message that says, "Hey, Aaron's phone left home, and the thermostat was automatically adjusted, and the system was armed." And it just kind of gives me that peace of mind of, hey, I know, that they've headed out somewhere, and I can give them a quick call and say, hey, how are things going? The IQ Doorbell. This is a very effective, inexpensive way of turning the doorbell chime unit that you've installed inside the home into a smart doorbell. You can install it within about 30 seconds. It will then turn on your lights automatically, activate outdoor cameras if you have them, and it will ring, cause the doorbell chime unit to ring everywhere. So you've got the chime unit in the home, but then it would also ring on the panel and on any secondary panels you have throughout the home. So it really turns any home into any regular doorbell into a smart doorbell. Now this is an inexpensive solution for turning a home into, turning a doorbell into a smart one. There, of course, also is the video doorbell aspect with the Skybell from Alarm.com that allows you to actually interact with the people on your front porch. The other day, for example, I was sitting at the office, and the doorbell rang, and I got a message on my phone, says the doorbell is ringing. I answer it, and there's the kids from across the street. Hey, can Jake and Ellie play today? And I said, hang on just a second. I flipped over to my app, and I looked on my cameras. I saw that the kids were downstairs playing, and I went back to the video doorbell, and I said, yeah, sure. they're downstairs playing, let me unlock the door. And right from my app, I was able to unlock the door, and the kids were able to come in. And from my camera, I could watch as they ran downstairs and went to go play with the kids. Now, whether or not my wife was happy about that, I don't know. But it was nice to know that I had the full capability of doing that. You know, and again, I was sitting at my office, you know, 10 minutes away, 20, you know, 10 miles away, doing everything from my smartphone. It's really, really fun and really, really cool. Go ahead and go to the next slide there, Whitney. Oh, so there we go. So there's the Skybell right there. You can see it's got an integrated camera. It's got an integrated motion sensor, both a digital microphone and speaker. You can use this to answer the door even when you're not home. I love just, you know, it's juvenile, I know, but I actually enjoy looking on my video feed on my app, and if I see someone walking by on the street, I'll talk to them. Hey, how's it going? And like they start to look around, they're like, who is that? Who was that? You know, but it's fun to be able to see and hear what's going on, you know, outside of your home. It's got a nice wide-angle view. In fact, you can see that screenshot right there. That's my home right there. That's the view I have from my front porch. I unfortunately have that giant pole there, but there's a tree in the front yard anyway, so I wouldn't see anything. But it's really nice to be able to see that nice wide-angle view of everything from my driveway over to my neighbor's house. Go ahead and go to the next slide, Whitney. IQ light bulb is another great one. Only uses 9 watts of energy, lasts 22 years, still gives you 60 watts of illumination. You can, you know, create rules around it to say turn off automatically when I'm, you know, when I'm going to bed. You can say, hey, turn on when I'm going on vacation at random times, you know, throughout the day, you know, things like that. So there's a lot of great energy savings and automation that occurs in a very simple to install device. Go ahead and go to the next one. For those of you that are installing hardwire systems, we have made a device called the Hardwire 16. This particular device will cover up to 16 zones. It's really great for these new construction jobs where you want to have a nice, inexpensive security sensor lineup. You install all the door sensors and window sensors through a wired system, and then the dealer will connect all those wired sensors into this device, and then they will all be communicating wirelessly to the panel. It's a very inexpensive way of getting a very robust security system built up, and your dealers will be more than happy to share more information about it. But very easy to install and very easy to use. Go ahead and go to the next one, Whitney. The other thing we wanted to point out is the consistent experience. You know, Caitlyn at Alarm.com and here at Qolsys, we've worked together really hard to make a consistent experience throughout the entire home. This whole, you know, the apps you use on your watch, your tablet, your phone, are all going to look and feel the same. You know, whether you're walking up to the panel and pressing arm to stay, whether you're, you know, doing it from your watch or from your tablet, it's going to be all the same sets of icons. It's all the same look. And there's really, I mean, there's a real power behind the platform. Caitlyn, do you want to explain how, you know, the kind of power that comes from Alarm.com when you're pairing all these things together?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a lot of single point solutions right now in the space making a lot of noise, and from the builders that we've gone out and talked to, it's creating kind of a lot of confusion. Builders have to kind of pick and choose which of those bright shiny objects they actually want to install as a standard in their to-be-built homes, based off what's going to be most marketable, what the consumer is going to want, really what's going to differentiate them. So it's always important to keep in mind to kind of select the platform approach, so you can not only integrate one kind of bright shiny object into that house, but really have a true system, smart home system, rather than just a smart home device. So there really is a lot of power behind this platform, and we already spoke to the rules, but that's one of the biggest benefits, is that the customer not only has the ability to control a single device, but when they control that single device, they can have a whole cascade of events happen just to provide extra convenience and a lot of times also safety.
Mm-hmm. And this goes back to what we were talking about at the very beginning of the call when we were talking about the Internet of Things. It's one thing to have a mobile app for your, you know, washing machine that can tell you what cycle it's on. but that's, is that really that smart to only have a single app that you can everything is, you have to have 40 different apps on your phone for your home? And where does the intelligence come in on that? I mean, I'll give you another example of this. The Nest thermostat is a beautiful thermostat. But when I compare that to the thermostat I have in my own home, this alarm.com thermostat we were talking about a moment ago, I wouldn't trade it for the world, because my Nest thermostat doesn't know when my doors are open. My Nest thermostat doesn't know when I've driven away from my home. And don't get me wrong, the Nest thermostat's a great thermostat, but to have a true smart home, you need to have all of these devices working together to provide information and data for you, and to be able to have automation occur with each other. When one device does something, all the other devices can react. That's a true smart home. It's a wise home. And it's a home that's going to be energy efficient. It's a home that's going to be really appealing for your buyers. It's going to sell more homes, and it's going to sell them faster. And again, that's the point we want to keep reiterating to you guys, is if you want to sell more homes and you want to sell them faster, you got to put in something that's going to work better. And the size of that system, how robust it needs to be or wants to be, is either up to you, or you could leave it up to the home buyer. And the dealers that we'll put you in contact with will help make sure that the right system is installed for your customers, for your buyers. Go ahead and go to the next slide there, Whitney. So again, this is talking about the service platform. There's of course the 4 aspects of the service platform that Alarm.com provides. Right, Caitlin? There's the interactive piece of this. There's the energy. It's every aspect of what they would look for in a smart home, right?
Exactly. And I think it's important to note here that kind of at the core of what we do, and really where we got our start, is security. We know that about 20 to 25% of any new construction community is going to want security. So picking a solution that is security ready is absolutely essential, again, to kind of marketing not only those homes as smart and green, but also, of course, safe and secure.
Exactly. Thank you for pointing that out. Okay, Whitney, go to the next slide for us. There's a lot of features in the interactive service, and we're running out of time here, so I don't want to take too much more of your time. But suffice it to say, security system, lights, locks, thermostat, garage door control, energy management, image sensor, video. A couple things that haven't been mentioned on here is like life safety things, like and even these are the things you can interact with, right, on the app. There's of course other aspects to your system, like flood detection, temperature detection, smoke and carbon monoxide detection. So there's a whole slew of life safety things that are always on, whether the system is armed or not. And then from your app, you'll be able to interact with and control all of these different things. I can open and close my garage door, from my app. In fact, that's what I do. I don't even have a garage door controller in my car. I use my phone. So when I drive home, I pull out my phone, and because I've got an iPhone 5 or 6S, I've got the 3D touch. I literally push and hold on my Alarm.com app icon. It pulls up 4 quick choices, and I touch open garage, and voila, my garage opens and I drive in. Very simple, very easy, and it gives me that kind of smart home control throughout my entire experience. Go ahead and go to the next slide there, Whitney. A couple other things we want to point out too. Severe weather alerts is something that we haven't really talked about, but especially down there in Florida, where there's hurricane warnings and things like that. If something like that happened, you would have the ability your panel has an ability, and your phone has the ability to send an alert to you and say, hey, there's a hurricane warning, in your area, take appropriate action. So you'll get those severe weather alerts. You also have what's called crash and smash protection. So as Caitlin was talking about the security of the system, if someone were to come in and break into the home, there isn't really any chance at all that the panel would be compromised and the signals wouldn't be sent. Right? I mean, traditionally, a burglar comes in and they cut the phone lines, and now the signal can't get out to the central station to send the police. That won't happen with crash and smash, right, Caitlin?
That's absolutely right. So the system is intelligent enough to know if somebody has actually come in and smashed up the panel, essentially what they're looking for is a signal, right? Somebody's either disarmed the system or the alarm goes off. If neither one occurs, then it sends that signal as a high priority crash and smash signal. So this is definitely a differentiator in terms of security and important to keep in mind.
Mm-hmm. And I actually had a customer when I used to work for a security dealer years ago, and I had a customer who had this exactly happen to her. She had some old panels in her home that were constantly, she'd been robbed 3 or 4 times, and she installed one of these systems. And when that same person came into their home and tried to smash the panel, they pulled the panel off the wall and smashed it to pieces. But because of that crash and smash technology, they were in the home thinking they had all the time in the world when the police showed up at the front and back doors and got them. And they not only were able to catch them, but because they now knew who they were able to go to that person's house and get back all the stuff that he'd stolen the past 3 robberies. So just knowing that what's happening and when it's happening gave even the police more information so they could take the appropriate action. So again, it's about data, it's about information, it's about communication, and we can do all of that with these new exciting systems. Go ahead and go to the next slide there, Whitney. And I apologize that we've gone. Let's just go through. If you don't mind, go through the next couple slides. I want to make sure that we if there's we talked about energy management. Let's keep going. We've got a lot of marketing support out there available, flyers and displays and things like that. We want to make sure that you got that. But for you, as you guys are looking for, no, go ahead and go to go ahead, Whitney. Sorry, go to the next one after that. As you guys are looking to move forward, we have a national network of dealers. And again, like I mentioned earlier, who can install, monitor, do the customer service for you, troubleshoot things as it comes along. I mean, inevitably, your customers are going to be calling you saying, "Hey, I want to add another device. I want to get that smart door lock that I forgot to get," things like that. Instead of you having to deal with that stuff, the dealer will take care of all of it for you, and we can connect you with someone in that. Now, if you're a dealer, I know there's a couple of dealers as well on the call, and you want to connect with some builders. Obviously, we've got a lot of builders who are expressing interest, and they're looking for someone like you. So we want to make sure that you're as part of our network as well, so that you can take full advantage of all this technology and be able to install it in the builder homes as well. So the whole goal is to get everyone together and be able to make these homes smarter and do that. So, and we're ready and willing to do that. In fact, after this call is over, Caitlyn, Jasmine, Whitney will all be reaching out to you. Santiago will be reaching out to you and saying, okay, what can we do to help you, get to that next step? We'll get you some, examples of the commercials. We'll get you some literature and information. We'll get you access to our dealer portal where we've got information on there, and really try and custom tailor the offering to you. The other thing we'll be doing is, as they reach out to you, we're going to be talking about what kind of projects you're working on, what kind of homes you're building, and we'll be making sure that the offering that the dealers that we connect you with and that we provide you with are appropriate for the type of home buyers that you've got. If you're building a senior community, perhaps you're going to want a different setup than you would if you're if you're building a community of townhomes that's going to appeal to millennials more, things like that. So we're going to really work hard to build with you the system and the capabilities that are appropriate for your audience, and will help, again, sell more homes, lease more homes, etc. Caitlin, what have I forgotten?
I think you about covered it, Jeremy. I know that you guys talked about kind of how the landscape is changing, and I do think that the amount of people who have smart homes or smart devices right now in their homes is growing steadily, and that's not just in the single-family space, but also in the multifamily space. So we're really excited because we are coming out with some property management functionality to complement our builder program as well. So if we do have any multifamily builders on the phone, we certainly have solutions that can help you as well, not only from kind of a marketing standpoint of marketing those units as smart and green, but also from an operations perspective with that property management platform.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in a multi-dwelling unit type situation, you've got people who, are coming and going and making new keys all the time is a nightmare. We've got one customer who, instead of having to do keys, uh, they do smart door locks on every lock. So rather than having to go and rekey the house or make sure that they collected all the keys, they simply delete the user codes from the system and add in new ones for the new tenants. It costs no money. It takes 5 minutes to do, and it's a whole lot more efficient. If that person stops paying their rent, guess what happens? We just take your user code off, and you can't even get into the home anymore. So we do want to give you guys an opportunity to go ahead and to keep going. The win. Yeah, there we go. Winning. So we want to do a drawing today for one of our security kits. This is an opportunity for you to get one of these kits for your own personal home. Our goal would be that you would want to use this and install this in your own home and see this technology firsthand, experience it firsthand. Let's go ahead and get Whitney. Before we do the drawing, have there been any questions that we need to make sure we answer?
No, we're good.
Okay, good. So I appreciate you taking the time, Whitney, to, in the background, she's been answering those questions for you guys as you typed them into the GoToMeeting tool, and hopefully you got all the answers you need. And of course, we'll be reaching out to you after the webinar to do that. But Caitlin, since you're our guest of honor, why don't you give me a number between 1 and 100, and we'll draw a random winner here.
Let's go with 52.
52. All right. All right. Rafael Blanco is our winner. So Rafael, congratulations. You just won a security kit. We've got your information because you used it to register today. We'll make sure that we get that sent out to you, and we'll follow up with you to help you make sure you get it installed and configured the right way and things like that. But congratulations, Rafael. Hope you enjoy that.
We just got a question from Juan.
Okay, great. Yeah, go ahead.
How does the hub work without the internet?
Sorry, you broke up a little bit. Say that again.
How does the hub work without the internet?
Good question. It's only going to work locally. If you choose, like, let's just say that the customer used this system right here that you can see on the slide, and it's a panel, a motion sensor, 4 mini door window sensors, and the doorbell sensor. If you don't have the internet, if you don't activate the system and have an alarm.com account that allows you to interact with the system remotely, and you don't connect to the internet at all, either through cellular or Wi-Fi, you can only use the system locally, which means that I could arm my system, and when my door is opened, that it would set the alarm off. If someone broke into my home and the motion detected them, it would set the alarm off. If someone rang the doorbell, I would hear it ring, not just on the doorbell chime unit in the home, but also on but that would be it. I would not be able to arm and disarm the system locally. I would not be able to create any rules that said, do this or that. I said locally, I meant remotely. I would not be able to use or access the system remotely. It would literally only be a local in-home system. So we really want to make sure that we are activating every possible system, because that's, the hardware is nice and it's fun to have in the home, but the real magic is the ability to use all of that remotely. So hopefully that answers your question well enough. It is still possible to have, some level of security and things like that. And again, as we partner you with a dealer in your area, if your customer chooses to buy this equipment, have it in their home, and use it only locally, then that's fine. Our goal and hope would be that the dealer in your area would work with them and encourage them to, be able to activate that system so they can use it remotely. They're going to lose out on the opportunity to have the police come if the alarm goes off. It would literally just be a noisemaker in the home, but the police would never show up. So, any other questions, Whitney, that we should answer before we go?
Nope, we're good to go.
Right. Well, I appreciate everyone's time today. I really apologize for going over. We went about 10 minutes over, but hopefully it was valuable to you. Again, Caitlin and Jasmine and Santiago will be reaching out to you individually over the next coming days to make sure that you don't have any additional questions, and really make sure that we can tailor all of this information to you and your situation answer your individual questions, put you in contact with a dealer in your area to really help flesh this whole opportunity out for you and get you guys moving along. But we want to thank you very, very much for your time today. Don't hesitate to reach out to us if you have additional questions or concerns or want additional information. And we thank you again. And Caitlyn, thank you for joining us. And I apologize we couldn't get your audio working earlier on the call, but we really do appreciate you taking time out of your day to join us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jeremy, and I look forward to speaking with everyone on the line.
Okay, have a good day, guys.